prove it to yourself. Yes, that's where it all begins. Not to your neighbor, not to your friends, not even to your family. You've got to prove it to yourself first. Because once you can prove it to yourself, you won't need to prove it to anyone else. And that's the beauty of it. You see, life isn't about living up to someone else's expectations. It's not about matching someone else's vision of who you should be. Life is about you and the person in the mirror. It's about deciding that you're willing to do whatever it takes to turn your potential into reality. It's about knowing you have the power within you, even when no one else sees it yet, even when you're not there yet. Because the journey starts with belief, and belief is something you nurture in yourself. Belief is like a tiny spark. It starts small, sometimes so small that it feels almost invisible. But if you nurture it, if you feed it every single day, that spark turns into a flame. Think about a time when you faced something new and daunting, like starting a new job, learning a new skill, or tackling a fitness goal. At first it seemed impossible and your confidence was fragile. But every time you took a small step forward, every time you made progress, you nurtured that spark. Over time, that belief grew stronger until what once seemed impossible became second nature. That is the power of nurturing belief. And that flame can become an unstoppable fire. But here's the key. You've got to protect that spark, especially in the beginning. When it's fragile, when it's vulnerable, when it feels like the whole world is against you, that's when it needs you the most. You have to keep that belief alive until it grows strong enough to carry you. A lot of people spend their time trying to prove things to others, trying to impress their colleagues, trying to make their friends say, wow, look at him or look at her. But if you focus on proving it to yourself, that's when magic happens. Because when you're driven by your own conviction, when you know deep down what you're capable of, it's not a matter of whether you'll succeed. It's a matter of when. You're not competing with anybody else. You're competing with the version of you that settled for less yesterday. This mindset shift is powerful because it means focusing on your own growth, not comparing yourself to others. It's about asking yourself each day, what can I do today that makes me better than I was yesterday? It could be reading for 10 more minutes, exercising a little longer, or simply being kinder to yourself. When you focus on small, actionable improvements every day, you begin to create a cycle. Every day is a new opportunity to be better than you were before. Every morning you wake up, you have a choice. You can choose to be who you were yesterday, or you can choose to take one step closer to the person you want to become. It's not about making giant leaps every day. Sometimes it's about the smallest, most incremental steps. It's about showing up for yourself, day in and day out, no matter what. It's about consistency, about patience, about trusting that every single step you take, no matter how small, is leading you towards something greater. And here's the truth. The first person you have to conquer is you. The first person you have to convince is you. The first person you need to rise above is you. If you want to be successful, if you want to reach those dreams, if you want to be better, then it starts with you. You need to prove that you're willing to wake up earlier if you have to. Prove that you're willing to work harder. Prove that you're willing to be more disciplined, more consistent, more committed than you were before. Every single day, you've got to prove it to yourself. When I started out, I wasn't a millionaire. I wasn't successful. I was broke. I was living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to pay my bills, and sometimes even skipping meals just to make ends meet. I remember the feeling of dread when my rent was due, and I had no idea how I would come up with the money. I felt stuck, overwhelmed, and lost. But one day I realized that the problem wasn't the economy. It wasn't my boss. It wasn't my upbringing. The problem was me. I was living on pennies and telling myself a story that life was just unfair. But one day I realized the problem wasn't the economy. It wasn't my boss. It wasn't my upbringing. The problem was me. The man I was looking at in the mirror wasn't doing everything he could. He wasn't disciplined, he wasn't consistent, and he wasn't committed. And so I made a decision. I would prove it to myself that I could become more, that I could do more, that I could have more. The decision to prove it to yourself is powerful because it gives you control over your life. Too many people are waiting for someone else to give them permission to succeed, permission to be happy, permission to dream. But if you're waiting for someone else to give you permission, let me tell you, you're going to be waiting a long, long time. You have to give yourself permission. You have to decide that your dreams are worth it, that you are worth it. And let me tell you about discipline. Discipline is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. It's not punishment. It's self-respect. It's saying, I am worth the effort. I am worth the time. I am worth the work. And every time you get up early when you'd rather sleep in, every time you finish that project when you'd rather watch TV, every time you make that extra phone call when you'd rather quit, you're proving it to yourself. You're building that belief. You're creating that momentum, and you show yourself what you're made of. Momentum is a powerful thing. When you take consistent action, when you keep showing up, even when it's hard, you start to create momentum. Think about a simple daily habit like going for a morning walk. On the first day, it might feel like a chore, something you have to force yourself to do. But as you keep going, as you make it part of your routine, it starts to get easier. Soon you find yourself looking forward to it, and then it becomes second nature. That's the power of momentum. Small actions done consistently build into a powerful force that keeps you moving forward. And once that momentum starts to build, it becomes easier and easier to keep going. It's like pushing a car up a hill. At first it feels impossible. It takes all your strength, all your energy, and it feels like you're getting nowhere. But if you keep pushing, if you keep taking one step at a time, eventually you reach the top of the hill. And then the car starts to roll, and suddenly it's moving with almost no effort. That's what momentum does for you. It turns hard work into something that starts to work for you. Now, there will be days when you feel like giving up. Days when nothing seems to be working. Days when you question whether it's worth it. But those are the days that matter most. Those are the days that define you. Because anyone can keep going when it's easy. Anyone can keep going when the sun is shining and everything is falling into place. But when the clouds roll in, when the storm hits, when everything seems to be against you, that's when you find out what you're made of. And that's when you need to prove it to yourself that you are stronger than the storm, that you are bigger than the challenge, that you are more capable than you ever imagined. It's about the small choices you make every single day. It's about the moments that seem insignificant. The moment when you decide whether to hit the snooze button or get out of bed. The moment when you decide whether to push yourself just a little bit harder or give in to the voice in your head telling you it's okay to take it easy. Those are the moments that determine your destiny. It's not the big, grand gestures. It's the daily discipline, the little choices, the consistent action. Because success is not something you do once. Success is something you do every single day. Think about the power of compounding effort. Imagine if every day you chose to do just one more than you did the day before. It might seem like a small, almost insignificant amount, but over time, that one compounds. Soon, what once seemed impossible becomes your new normal. Consistency is the key that unlocks extraordinary change, and it all starts with the small choices you make every single day. It's in deciding to get up when the alarm goes off, in making one more phone call when you feel tired, in finishing that workout even when you're ready to quit. These are the choices that build your future, one brick at a time. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man I met a long time ago. He was struggling. He had big dreams, but didn't know how to make them real. He was working long hours, barely making enough to get by, and he was tired. He was ready to give up, but I told, prove it to yourself. I told him to stop worrying about what other people thought, to stop comparing himself to others, to stop letting fear hold him back. I told him to prove it to himself that he could take one step forward every single day, and he did. He woke up early. He stayed late. He worked hard. He read books. He learned. He grew. And today, that young man is living his dream. He's successful, he's fulfilled, and he's happy. Not because he proved it to anyone else, but because he proved it to himself. You see, that's the key. Prove it to yourself first, and the rest will follow. Prove to yourself that you can be disciplined, that you can be consistent, that you can be committed. And when you do that, you won't have to say a word. Few people will see it in the way you carry yourself. They'll see it in your results, they'll see it in your life, and they'll be inspired. But it starts with you. And let's talk about one more thing. Sacrifice. If you want to succeed, you've got to be willing to make sacrifices. Take, for example, an athlete training for the Olympics. They give up late nights out with friends, their favorite comfort foods, and sometimes even time with family to focus on their training. They wake up before dawn, train for hours, and push through fatigues, all because they are committed to their goal. That's the kind of sacrifice it takes to achieve something extraordinary. You've got to be willing to give up the things that are holding you back. You've got to be willing to let go of what's comfortable, what's easy, what's familiar. Because the truth is, if you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done. And that means sacrifice. It means saying no to the things that don't matter so you can say yes to the things that do. It means choosing your dreams over your comfort. It means choosing your future over your present. Sacrifice is never easy. It requires you to let go of what's comfortable, to step into the unknown, to face uncertainty. But here's the thing, comfort is the enemy of progress. If you stay in your comfort zone, if you hold on to what's easy, you'll never grow. You'll never reach your full potential. You'll never discover what you're truly capable of. Sacrifice is the price you pay for greatness. It's the price you pay for freedom, and it's worth every penny. But here's the beauty of it. When you prove it to yourself, when you make those sacrifices, when you stay disciplined, when you stay committed, life will reward you in ways you can't even imagine. You'll find opportunities you never knew existed. You'll meet people who will support you, who will lift you up, who will help you reach your goals. You'll experience the kind of success that only comes from knowing you've given it your all. And most importantly, you'll have the confidence, the belief, the knowing that you did it. Not because someone else told you you could, not because someone else gave you permission, but because you proved it to yourself. And that's when life gets good, when you know deep down that you've got what it takes, When you know that no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it. When you know that you are capable of more than you ever imagined, that's when you're truly free. Free from fear, free from doubt, free from the limitations that once held you back. Because you've proven to yourself that you can rise above it all, that you can become more, that you can do more, that you can have more. And that's when you start to inspire others. When people see the fire in your eyes, when they see the determination in your actions, when they see the results in your life, they start to believe in themselves too. Your journey becomes a beacon for others. Your success becomes a source of hope. But remember, it all starts with you. It starts with proving it to yourself. So, my challenge to you today is this: prove it to yourself. Don't do it for the applause. Don't do it for the recognition. Don't do it for the approval of others. Do it for you. Do it because you know deep down that you are capable of greatness. Do it because you know that you have a purpose, that you have a calling, that you have something special to offer this world. Do it because you deserve to live a life that is full, that is rich, that is meaningful. Prove it to yourself that you can rise above your circumstances, that you can overcome your challenges, that you can achieve your dreams. And remember, this won't be easy. There will be obstacles, there will be setbacks, there will be days when you want to give up. But those are the moments that matter most. Those are the moments when you prove to yourself what you're made of. Those are the moments when you find out just how strong you really are. So don't quit. Don't give up. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep proving it to yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. Not what others think. Not what others say. What matters is what you think. What matters is what you believe. What matters is that you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I did it. That you can look back on your life and say, I gave it my all. That you can look at your dreams and say, I made them real. Not because anyone else said you could. Not because anyone else gave you permission. But because you proved it to yourself. So today, make the decision. Make the commitment. Prove it to yourself that you can be more, that you can do more, that you can have more. Prove it to yourself that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are unstoppable. Prove it to yourself that you have what it takes to turn your dreams into reality. And when you do, you'll find that life has a way of rewarding those who are willing to prove it. You'll find that the opportunities, the success, the fulfillment you've been seeking are closer than you think. And you'll find that the person you've always wanted to be is already within you. Remember, it's not about proving it to the world. It's not about proving it to your family, your friends, or your critics. It's about proving it to yourself. It's about knowing deep down that you are capable of more. It's about showing up every single day with the determination, the discipline, the commitment to be the best version of yourself. It's about deciding that your dreams are worth the effort, that your goals are worth the sacrifice, that your life is worth the work. And proving it to yourself means embracing both the victories and the setbacks, understanding that each challenge you face is a stepping stone, not a roadblock. It's in those moments of doubt and difficulty that your true strength is revealed. When you choose to rise above and keep moving forward despite it all. And when you do that, when you prove it to yourself, that's when everything changes. That's when the world starts to open up to you. That's when the opportunities start to flow, when the success starts to build, when the life you've always dreamed of starts to become a reality. But it starts with you. It starts with a decision. It starts with the choice to prove it to yourself. Or go out there and prove it. Prove it in the way you live your life. Prove it in the way you chase your dreams. Prove it in the way you face your fears. Prove it in the way you overcome your challenges. Prove it to yourself that you are capable of greatness, that you are worthy of success, that you are deserving of happiness. Prove it to yourself that you can rise above, that you can push through, that you can make it happen. And when you do, when you prove it to yourself, you'll find that there's nothing you can't achieve. You'll find that the only limits that exist are the ones you've placed on yourself. You'll find that the life you've always wanted is within your reach. So prove it. Prove it to yourself. And watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined possible. Because at the end of the day, the only person you have to prove anything to is you. So make the commitment, take the action, and prove it. Prove it to yourself, and the rest will follow. And one more thing, don't underestimate the power of small victories. Sometimes the most important battles are the small ones we fight every single day. It's the decision to get out of bed when you'd rather stay under the covers. It's the choice to work on your dream after a long day when you'd rather rest. It's the resolve to push yourself when the world seems to be pushing back. Every small victory adds up. Every small victory builds your confidence, your character, and your courage. Each small win you achieve is proof that you're capable of much more. And think about this. No matter how small a step might seem today, it is still a step in the direction of your dreams. No step is too small if it's taking you forward. Success isn't always about making a giant leap. Often, it's about taking small but steady steps each day. Don't underestimate the power of these small steps. They are what will carry you through. They are what builds your story of resilience, your story of grit, your story of determination. So when you're faced with a choice, even a small one, remember that every single choice you make is an opportunity to prove something to yourself. Every action you take is a statement of belief in yourself and in your future. When you choose to act, to push, to sacrifice, to discipline, you're choosing to step into your greatness. And that's the power of proving it to yourself. Every day is another chance to add to your story. A story of someone who never gave up, who faced every obstacle and kept going, who proved that no matter what the world said, they had something special within them. Because that's the kind of story that inspires not just the people around you, but yourself too. You will find motivation in your own journey. You will become your own inspiration. You will see that every struggle, every sacrifice, and every challenge was leading you to become the person you were always meant to be. So keep fighting, keep showing up, keep proving it to yourself, and before long, you'll see just how far you've come. You'll realize that the person you've become is exactly who you always dreamed of being. That's the beauty of this journey. The best version of yourself is already within you, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to prove it. So get out there, take the steps, make the sacrifices, overcome the obstacles, and prove it. Every single day, in every small choice, every small victory, every moment of discipline, prove it to yourself, and the rewards will be more than you could ever imagine. The growth, the fulfillment, the sense of purpose, it will all be worth it. Remember, the only person you need to prove anything to is yourself. And when you do, the world will see it. So prove it to yourself and watch as everything else follows. Go live the life you've always dreamed of. You have it in you. Now go prove it